Hello, my name is Greg G, and this is a tutorial for the Tango DJG Display, which is a plugin I originally wrote for Windows Media Player Legacy starting somewhere around 2012. I've since done some enhancements, bug fixes, and I had learned of another music player named MediaMonkey, which also supported plugins, and so ported the display plugin also to MediaMonkey. I have another tutorial video that I made years ago for the original Windows Media Player version. It's not as comprehensive as this one will be. But this is focused on the MediaMonkey version. The functions, the features, and the configuration are basically the same between the two, so you could use this video also to help you with the Windows Media version, Windows Media Player version as well. To get started, you'll go to this website, URL github.com/TangoDJG/display. Um, on this site, you'll see a folder that has the MediaMonkey zip file, and then a folder that will have the Windows Media Player zip file as well. A folder for the documentation. The documentation file is also within each of the zip files. This is for the Windows version of MediaMonkey. The MediaMonkey website at one point a couple years ago had indicated they were working on a Mac version of MediaMonkey, but I haven't seen any updates for a couple years, so I don't know if they ran into some issues or if they've given up. I was hoping, still hope that they'll have a Mac version, since that should be an easy way to make this display plugin available to Mac users. But for now, it's just the Windows version of MediaMonkey. So you'll come into the folder. As of this recording, latest version is 273. Come in and download the zip file. After a zip file is downloaded, you will need to extract the zip file. Inside the zip file, you'll see a folder with the documentation and the plugin itself. Once you've extracted the zip file, you'll come back to the MediaMonkey application. Under Tools menu, click on Add-ons, click Install Add-on from File. You'll browse, locate the plugin file, which is the .mmip file. It will display some intro information for the add-on, as well as license information, which is kind of standard license information. It says I've tested it to best of my ability, but you're not going to hold me liable for any unexpected behavior or anything that goes wrong with the plugin on your setup. Again, kind of standard license for anything you download off the internet. Click Accept, Install Now. This is configuration screen with the various parameters. I will be going into these fields in depth in a little bit. Click OK. Plugin's been installed. Anytime MediaMonkey installs a new add-on, it wants to restart the application. So after MediaMonkey has restarted, you should see now in the Tools menu, there is an option for TangoDJG. We'll select that. You'll see a new pop-up window. This is where the display information is going to be shown. So typically your laptop will have an external monitor port. Used to be like either VGA, display port, HDMI port, where you can connect an extra monitor display, or even a projector if you want to display to a wall. Some laptops will have capability for wireless display. You're basically extending the desktop, increasing the desktop space. You would drag this window over to the extra display and stretch out or expand, maximize the window. You will notice that this red border, when it's not maximized, doesn't go all the way around. I don't know why that is for the rendering, but at least it's typically going to be expanded. Um, and the border is just an option I'll show in a little bit to indicate the last two tandas of the night. You can the next last tanda can have a yellow border, and the last tanda would show red border like this. Again, normally the window's not going to be normally it would be maximized unless you're trying to squeeze everything under a single display, like trying to do the demo like I am right now, or maybe you're testing at home before you go to the actual Milonga. It's a possibility. If you haven't guessed, so the intent of the display is to show the title and artist information, various song information for the tango songs to the dancers for their education. So just, example, this is some of the information that can be shown. And so it can indicate, so the columns that you want enabled in the MediaMonkey, title and artist should be displayed, should be shown enabled by default. So obviously the plugin is very dynamic, so as the songs start, the information is read from the file and displayed. As the songs increment, you'll see the song number in the tanda is going to increment. That will get reset when Cortina is encountered. And as you can see, the Cortina has the option of telling the dancers what the next tanda is and who the artist is. There's also the ability to show a countdown. So I'll come back to that in a second. Going back to the columns, so you want the date column enabled, so it has the ability to show the year of the song, which would be read from the date column. The type of the tanda, where tango, waltz, alternative, milonga, is read out of the grouping column. You also want the mood column. There's one or two features that will look for keywords in the mood column that I will describe. So again, for the Cortinas, you have the option of displaying what the next tanda is, the next artist, and the countdown is based on the length of the Cortina. So this was a 39-second Cortina, so the countdown would start from 39 seconds. I put that in just because there were times some DJs would play a super long Cortina. I'd be wondering, okay, how much more, time, how long is this Cortina going to go? Again, it's just an option. You have the option to come into the settings, come back to the settings. You could disable the Cortina countdown if you want to be very flexible in how long the Cortinas are. You don't have to show the countdown. In order to show the next tanda information, obviously the tanda has to be set before the Cortina file starts to play. If that's too restrictive for you and you still want to be able to change the next Cortina change the next Tanda during the Cortina itself, you have the option. You can say, I don't want to bother to show uh, what what the type the next Tanda is, or you don't want to show who the next artist is. Now, how does the plugin know what is what? So, in advanced parameters, so the file's title needs to start with Cortina, and that is how the plugin recognizes what the Cortinas are. It has the option to recognize a Cortina design for the next to last Tanda in the title, and the last Cortina. Also, again, the title would have Cortina and last in the title. So the example for that is, again, if we encounter so this is Cortina next last, so the plugin recognizes that and will indicate the last two Tandas, and it will show a yellow border around the display. And it will keep the yellow border for the Tanda as well. And then the red border when we encounter the last Tanda section. So the plugin will indicate the last Tanda, show red border. Now, what will happen is, of course, maybe you've announced last Tanda and the organizer, the dancers clamor for extra Tandas. So, you've already announced that it's the last Tanda here. You can come back into the configuration and basically say, okay, it's no longer the last Tanda. Maybe you're just going to add one more Tanda after this. So this is now the second, it's next to the last Tanda. Even as the music's playing, things will change and update. You need to change it to a regular Tanda. Again, you can update that there. At the end of the night, after La Conquista, some DJs will play, salsa or some other song to kind of, play the dancers out, so to speak, as they're packing up. So during that time, I neglected to put in La Conquista in here, but so again, if you have a song that you're just a non-tango song that you're playing, I just kind of wanted to display a thank you message for coming. The way the plugin knows when to do that is it's looking in the grouping column for this keyword here. So that is configured here. So that's the keyword it's looking for. The message it's going to display is configured there. You can configure, change it to a different message if you want. You obviously, you can also change it to your native language, so that will be configurable there. This keyword, if the plugin encounters break in the title, it's basically going to ignore that file. So this was for in the early days if I wanted to prevent the end of one song immediately jumping to the next song, so that there was no breaks, that there was no silence. In the early days, I created a short file of basically just a couple seconds of silence. So in order to make sure the plugin does not increment the number of the song in the Tanda or update the display, so this keyword will tell the plugin basically just, it's just a pad file just to ignore it and won't update anything. Let's see, you have the options. Oh, so the You can play with the font size if you want to, or need to if you want to increase that. Uh, the border, if you
So
the border, if you want to make this border wider, more visible, you can increase the value here. If you want to make it less visible or shrink it, you can decrease the value here. Some formatting notes. So you can see the artist column usually will have the orchestra, and if there is a singer, the singer is usually indicated. Sometimes they'll say featuring the singer or with the singer. Um, so in order for the plugin not to squeeze everything onto the same line, which would try to shrink the font size, I try to put information on different lines. So the plugin needs to know where, if there's a singer, where to separate it from. So that's where this field is. I just went with the shortest word I could think of, which is the Spanish word for with. You can your library, you can change this word depending on how your library is set up, but it just needs to be the same keyword for all the songs to separate the artist and the singer. In some cases, the artist or singer may individually be super long. So again, the display would then try to squeeze everything in and shrink the letters. So a way to control that is this max characters. So what will happen is, as an example, so there's no singer here. It's just the artist, but you can see the artist is super long, and so the plugin will basically say, okay, after 27 characters, I'm going to continue on a new line to try to help improve the formatting. So you shouldn't have to change that, but you are welcome to play around with it. You know, you get whatever, the results are up to you essentially. So that's what this field is for here. The keyword here for mix is, although usually a Tanda will be of the same artist throughout, there can be occasions where, for whatever reason, you may be mixing artists in the Tanda, particularly for alternatives. So in that particular case, it doesn't make sense when the Cortina plays. It's going to try to read and indicate, who the next artist is. But if the Tanda is a mix, it doesn't make sense. It would be confusing to display just this one. So what you can do is, if the Tanda is a mix of artists, the first song after the Cortina, you want to, in the mood column, put the keyword mix in here. This way, when the Cortina plays, the plugin will recognize that and just simply indicate that it's multiple artists. That is essentially what this what that keyword is for there. Talk about song numbers. The year. I don't think I talked about the year. So the display can show the year. Now, I understand, of course, not everybody's library is going to be up to date with the correct years. So you have the option, if you don't want to show the year at all, basically only if the year is less than or equal to this value will it show the year. So if you don't want to show the year, any of the years, you can put in a low value, and the year will disappear. If you're comfortable with all of the values, you can put a large value in, and all of them will be displayed. I had noticed some golden era songs I downloaded off the internet sometimes indicated the year that was like in the 2000s, and so it was actually indicating kind of the year of the re-release. So sometimes in that case, I would put in a value of 2000 if I didn't have a chance to update all the songs, for example. But again, if I put in even just at 1930, you can see it's not going to show the year in that particular case. Let's see. Announcements. If the organizer or somebody wants to do some quick announcements, we'll show announcements there, and then when the Milonga resumes, the display will go ahead and update. There's a similar option, override text. So this could be useful, for example, for performance. You could display, anything here, but let's just say, you could have a performance, and you could indicate the names of the performers. So the override text will stay until you disable this override, is the difference with the announcements. So for example, I can display that there, and then the performance can go through their different songs. And you can see the display did not change. When the performance is done, or when the override's done, go disable the override, and you can see that the display goes back to normal. Now, in case you see for some reason the song number doesn't look right, for example, coming out of this special scenario with the override, or maybe for some reason you're having to restart a song, clicking it multiple times. And so you have the option again, even as the song's playing, you can come in and say, okay, well, this is actually the second song of the Tanda, and that will update that information there immediately there. I think I've covered most of the fields here. I will, another beware is you could start an extra plugin screen, even accidentally, but I would recommend don't run more than once, one at a time, because I don't know, the triggers make it confused between the two. I think I saw some odd behavior, but otherwise I think that covers most of the functionality. I hope you as a DJ find this useful, and as well as the dancers in your community. I hope appreciate the information, find it useful as well. So thank you for your time. Bye.